모든 게 돼 있어요.
Alright, guys, gather around. Did you miss the biggest, most chaotic, jaw-dropping celebrity scandal to hit the internet recently? Or maybe you saw bits and pieces, but you're still trying to piece together how a fun night at a Coldplay concert turned into a full-blown corporate meltdown and a lawsuit against Chris Martin himself? If so, you're in the right place, because we're about to deep dive into the kiss cam catastrophe that rocked the tech world, shattered reputations, and gave us enough drama to last a lifetime. This isn't just about a kiss cam. It's a wild ride of hypocrisy, public humiliation, and the absolute messiness that happens when private lives collide with the very public eye. So grab your popcorn, because you won't believe how this all went down. Picture this: a packed Coldplay concert, thousands of fans singing their hearts out, lights flashing. You know, the usual amazing concert vibe. Then, the infamous kiss cam sweeps across the crowd, landing on unsuspecting couples, getting them to share a quick smooch for all to see. It's a classic concert moment, right? Innocent fun. Except this time, it landed on a pair that was anything but innocent. Our story begins with Andy Byron, a billionaire tech CEO, and Kristen Kitt, who happens to be the head of HR at his company, Astronomer. Yep, the head of HR. The very person in charge of keeping workplace relationships in check was caught on the kiss cam, looking way too cozy with her boss. And that, my friends, was just the beginning of a scandal so epic, it's still being talked about. Now, usually, a kiss cam moment is just a cute, fleeting interaction. But this one? Oh, this one went viral faster than you can say, fix you. The video, originally posted to TikTok, showed Andy and Kristen in a private moment, embracing. What made it even more of a sensation was what Coldplay frontman Chris Martin said when the camera landed on them. He quipped, and I quote, "They're either having an affair or they're just very shy." And just like that, an HR scandal was born, live for thousands to see, and then for millions more to dissect online. The internet, as we all know, does not forgive, and it definitely doesn't forget. Within minutes, this kiss cam clip was everywhere. TikTok was full of dramatic reenactments, Instagram gossip pages were eating it up, and hashtags like hashtag Coldplay couple and hashtag HR drama were trending before Andy Byron even got to his car. People were quick to point out the delicious irony: a CEO who preached workplace integrity was caught getting cozy with his HR head. The comments were brutal, with many questioning Astronomer's ethics policy. This wasn't just a fleeting moment of embarrassment, it was a full-blown public spectacle that set the stage for a much larger, much messier saga. And trust me, it only gets wilder from here. So, who exactly is Andy Byron, the man at the center of this kiss cam chaos? Well, before this whole concert catastrophe, Andy Byron was known as a pretty big deal in the tech world. He's the billionaire CEO of a company called Astronomer. And from what we understand, Astronomer isn't just some small startup. It's described as a billion-dollar tech giant. That kind of title comes with a certain public image, right? We're talking about a company supposedly built on ethics, trust, and transparency. What makes this whole situation so incredibly ironic and, frankly, a bit wild is Andy Byron's own public persona and his company's stated values. This isn't just some random person caught in a private moment. This is a CEO who is out there giving interviews about having zero tolerance for inappropriate office relationships. Can you even imagine? Just 2 weeks before this kiss cam incident, he reportedly told a tech magazine that leaders should model the highest standards. Talk about a plot twist. He basically broke his own rulebook. The internet, of course, absolutely ate this up. The hypocrisy was just too delicious to ignore. People were dragging him from every possible angle, morally, professionally, personally. It wasn't just online chatter either. Investors started asking questions, and Astronomer's stock took a small dip, which, even if it sounds minor, apparently meant millions lost in just a few hours. Ouch! And if that wasn't enough, his own employees weren't silent. Anonymous posts started popping up, with comments like, "So, this is why we can't get promotions." Slack channels were apparently lit up with inside jokes. Suddenly, Andy Byron wasn't just a trending topic. He was a serious liability for his company. It went from gossip to a full-blown corporate crisis. So, was he a tech titan or just completely tone-deaf to the consequences of his actions? Well, the public opinion and increasingly, the market seemed to be leaning towards the latter. And trust me, Andy's response to all this only made things worse, which we'll get into next. You won't believe what he did. Alright, so we've talked about Andy Byron, the CEO who found himself in hot water. But what about the other person in that now infamous kiss cam moment? Let's talk about Kristen Kitt. She's not just some random concert goer. She's reportedly the head of HR at Astronomer, Andy Byron's company. Yeah, you heard that right, the head of human resources. Now, think about that for a second. The head of HR is typically the person responsible for upholding workplace conduct, ensuring professional boundaries, and dealing with, well, inappropriate office relationships. It's her job to set standards and ensure accountability within the company. And here she is, caught on a jumbotron, front and center, looking incredibly close with the boss. The irony, as many on the internet pointed out, was absolutely dripping. From the body language alone, it certainly didn't look like they were discussing quarterly performance reviews. It looked, as one person put it, intimate, cozy, forbidden. And when the video went viral, Kristen was thrown into the spotlight right alongside Andy. The optics of the situation for her, as a professional in HR, were, let's just say, not great. Initially, after the Kiss Kim clip hit the internet, Kristen's response was to seemingly vanish from her online presence. She reportedly wiped her LinkedIn and deleted Instagram. People immediately started speculating. Was she quitting? Hiding? There were even rumors that she might have been offered a quiet exit to protect Andy and the company, but other whispers suggested she was ready to spill everything if thrown under the bus. Talk about high stakes. Kristen's role in this whole drama is absolutely crucial because it highlights the immediate and far-reaching consequences of this public exposure. Not only did it create a massive HR scandal for Astronomer, but it put her career and personal life under an intense microscope. What happens when the person enforcing the rules is perceived to be breaking them? It creates a ripple effect throughout the entire company, and as we'll see, it didn't take long for those ripples to turn into huge waves. Her story definitely adds another layer of intrigue to this already wild tale. Okay, so we've got Andy Byron, the high-flying CEO with a questionable ethics policy, and Kristen Kitt, his HR head caught in a very public compromising position. But let's rewind to the moment that truly set this entire scandal ablaze, Chris Martin's seemingly harmless, off-the-cuff comment. When the kiss cam landed on Andy and Kristen, it was Chris Martin, the frontman of Coldplay himself, who spoke into the microphone and said, "They're either having an affair or they're just very shy." Now, to Chris Martin, this was probably just harmless banter. Just a concert joke to engage with the fans, something they love. You know, the kind of playful teasing that happens at live events all the time. But boy, was he wrong about this one. That single line, that one cheeky comment, sent the entire stadium screaming. And then, as we discussed, it fueled the online firestorm, giving the internet the exact soundbite it needed to run wild with. For Andy Byron, however, it was anything but funny. He reportedly felt that Chris Martin had humiliated him in front of thousands and turned a private embarrassment into a global circus. Insiders even claimed that Andy felt targeted and mocked. This is where things took a truly unexpected turn. Instead of laying low or issuing an apology, Andy Byron's bruised ego and shattered reputation led him to plot something big. Whispers started to spread. Andy wants to sue. Yes, you heard that right. Sue Chris Martin over a joke at a concert. People absolutely lost it when this news broke. Social media quickly branded him the CEO who sued Coldplay. Memes exploded, with Chris Martin even photoshopped into courtroom sketches and jokes like, "Your Honor, fix you." Public sympathy for Andy was non-existent. Everyone was riding for Chris. This seemingly innocuous comment from a rock star became the catalyst for a full-blown legal and public relations nightmare for Andy Byron. It transformed a viral moment into a major scandal, proving that sometimes a few spoken words can have a far greater impact than anyone anticipates. And with a lawsuit now on the table, this story was about to get a whole lot messier. Alright, so the kiss cam moment happened, Chris Martin made his comment, and the lawsuit threat emerged. But how did the vast, unpredictable beast that is the internet react to all of this? In one word, spectacularly. This was truly a masterclass in modern public shaming, powered by memes, trending hashtags, and the relentless nature of online gossip. From the moment that Kiss Cam clip hit screens, X, or X as we know it now, had the footage on loop. It spread like wildfire. Hashtags like hashtag shock Coldplay couple and hashtag HR drama were trending before Andy Byron even had a chance to get to his car. Instagram gossip pages were absolutely eating this up like a free dessert. And TikTok? It was full of dramatic reenactments and savage captions. People were obsessed with the irony of a CEO who preached workplace integrity being caught in such a compromising situation with his HR head. The comments sections were brutal. People were quick to point out, not HR enforcing the rules in the most hands-on way possible. Another popular sentiment was, guest astronomers' ethics policy needs a rewrite. It wasn't just about the perceived affair, it was about the blatant hypocrisy. Then came the digging. Reddit users, those fearless internet detectives, pulled out old company event pictures showing Andy and Kristen sitting very close. Suddenly, this wasn't just a one-off kiss cam moment, it started to look like a pattern. The internet even dragged Andy's wife into it, tagging her in viral clips. Andy's perfect image was gone. And when news of the lawsuit against Chris Martin broke, the internet just imploded. People couldn't believe a billionaire CEO suing a rock star over a kiss cam joke. It sounded like satire, but it was real. Memes exploded, featuring Chris Martin photoshopped into courtrooms. The public sympathy for Andy was non-existent. He just looked petty. As one person wisely put it, when memes hit LinkedIn, you knew it was over. When professionals start laughing at you on a professional platform, your brand is toast. The internet didn't just react, it became an active participant in Andy Byron's downfall, turning his biggest public embarrassment into a continuous, merciless spectacle. This global circus wasn't going to let him go quietly into the night. So, while Andy Byron was busy plotting his lawsuit and the internet was having a field day, what was happening back at Astronomer, his billion-dollar tech company? Well, let's just say it wasn't business as usual. The kiss cam catastrophe didn't just affect Andy and Kristen personally, it ignited a full-blown corporate crisis. As you can imagine, when your CEO becomes a trending topic for all the wrong reasons, it sends shockwaves through the entire organization. Investors were reportedly furious. Clients started asking if all this drama would affect deals. And employees? They were panicking. Ethics committees within Astronomer were even holding emergency meetings. How do you even begin to justify your CEO being caught with the head of HR on a viral kiss cam? As the narration perfectly puts it, you don't. The situation was a public relations nightmare. Andy Byron's own statements about zero tolerance for inappropriate office relationships and leaders should model the highest standards came back to haunt him and, by extension, his company. The hypocrisy was too blatant for anyone to ignore. It wasn't just gossip sites talking about Astronomer anymore. Business outlets were circling like sharks. Employees started leaking internal memos, and the press got wind of internal reviews. The company's image, once built on ethics and trust, was taking a serious hit. Astronomer stock even took a small dip, translating to millions lost in just hours. Andy's leadership was officially on life support. This crisis at Astronomer perfectly illustrates how a personal scandal, especially involving high-profile executives, can quickly spill over and threaten the very foundation of a business. It wasn't just Andy's reputation on the line, it was the entire company's stability and credibility. And as the internal turmoil mounted, Andy's next move, the lawsuit, only poured more fuel on an already raging fire. It truly was a corporate nightmare unfolding in real time. So, with his company in crisis and his reputation in tatters, what did Andy Byron do? Apologize? Try to fix things internally? Nope. His solution wasn't an apology, and it wasn't silence. It was war. His next move had everyone clutching their pearls. He decided to sue Chris Martin. This decision was met with absolute disbelief online. A billionaire CEO suing a rock star over a kiss cam joke? It sounded like something out of a comedy sketch, but it was real. Andy's legal team claimed Chris's comment, they're either having an affair or they're just very shy, had caused irreparable harm to his personal and professional life. However, the legal experts quickly weighed in, and it wasn't good news for Andy. They pointed out that there's hardly any expectation of privacy in public places anymore, especially at large venues like concerts. Places like Fenway Park often have big signs warning guests they may appear on camera. This meant Andy likely didn't have a case. But instead of cutting his losses, Andy doubled down. He wanted to sue Coldplay, the organizers, maybe even the camera guy, everybody on that lawsuit. Lawyers immediately started calling the move ego litigation. PR experts branded it a nightmare. The more Andy fought, the worse he looked. Headlines started calling him the most fragile CEO in tech. The man who wanted to protect his reputation ended up it himself. While Andy was obsessing over his lawsuit, Astronomer was still in meltdown mode. This legal battle wasn't doing anything to help his company's image, and in fact, it likely made things even worse. It just added another layer of public scrutiny and ridicule to an already disastrous situation. This lawsuit wasn't about justice. It seemed to be about pure, unadulterated revenge, and it only served to accelerate Andy Byron's very public downfall. As if the Kiss Cam incident, the corporate meltdown, and the bizarre lawsuit weren't enough, the story of Andy Byron and Kristen Kitt continued to unravel with even more shocking revelations. The internet, armed with its detective skills, wasn't done digging, and what they found only deepened the scandal. Remember those rumors about this not being a one-off thing? Well, those online detectives, especially the Reddit users, kept pulling out old company event photos showing Andy and Kristen sitting very close. This wasn't just speculation anymore. It started to look like a pattern. It raised a huge question mark. Was this a secret that was just accidentally exposed, or was there more to their relationship than a single concert embrace? And then, just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for Andy, a new photo dropped. As if fate itself was trying to confirm everyone's suspicions, someone leaked a photo of Andy and Kristen arriving at Fenway together. This wasn't them meeting inside the venue. This was them arriving side by side, matching outfits like a date. The internet, predictably, went crazy. This photographic evidence completely shattered every innocent misunderstanding defense Andy might have tried to float. People now believed this was a full-blown affair, and the receipts were stacking. The scandal then went from being just a viral moment to a full-blown HR gate. Bloggers started digging into travel records, company retreats, and expense reports. The implications were massive, not just for their personal lives, but for the ethical standing of astronomer. If company resources were used for a hidden relationship, that's a whole new level of corporate misconduct. Meanwhile, while Andy went underground hoping the storm would blow over, the narrative continued to spin out of control. Anonymous insiders spilled tea about Andy's behavior, fueling even bigger scandals. Some even claimed Kristen wasn't the only one. True or not, perception became reality. Andy was branded the hypocrite CEO, a label that would stick forever. This phase of the scandal truly highlighted the power of internet sleuths and how quickly public perception can solidify, especially when backed by damning evidence. The leaked photo and subsequent digging transformed a public embarrassment into undeniable proof of a deeper, more problematic situation, leaving Andy with virtually no room to maneuver. As the dust began to settle on the Kiss Cam catastrophe, the consequences for everyone involved started to become painfully clear. For Andy Byron, the tech CEO who dared to sue Chris Martin, the aftermath was nothing short of a personal and professional collapse. The loud lawsuit threatening Chris Martin suddenly vanished. There were no tweets, no interviews from Andy. His lawyers probably told him the truth. The lawsuit was dead in the water, and every word he spoke was another headline. So Andy went underground, desperately, hoping the storm would blow over. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Instead, the narrative spun further out of his control. Anonymous insiders spilled tea about Andy's behavior, leading to even bigger scandals. Some claims even suggested Kristen wasn't the only one. Whether true or not, perception became reality, and Andy was permanently branded the hypocrite CEO. Kristen Kitt, the head of HR caught in the crossfire, also faced significant changes. After deleting her social media, she reportedly resigned quietly from Astronomer. There were rumors she felt betrayed after Andy tried to frame it as her fault internally, and whispers swirled that she was preparing a statement or worse, a tell-all. Sources even claimed Kristen had receipts, texts, emails, maybe even photos. If true, this could mean Andy's empire won't just crack, it'll collapse. The idea of a woman's scorn story, with power, betrayal, and public shame, had everyone wondering what Kristen's next move would be. Meanwhile, back at Astronomer, the board launched an internal probe. Rumors suggest Andy might not survive it. Employees are now questioning leadership, and investors want answers. Andy, who wanted to protect his image, only made himself more famous for all the wrong reasons. He's reportedly out of moves. And what about Chris Martin, the accidental catalyst? While Andy's world burned, Chris was on stage singing Fix You in another city like nothing happened. He never addressed the lawsuit publicly, and fans loved him even more for it. Coldplay sales spiked, and concert tickets sold out. In a bizarre twist of fate, Andy essentially made Chris a bigger star without even trying. At every Coldplay show, Fans showed up with signs reading, "We're just shy," and "Kiss Kim approved." Andy became a literal punchline, and Chris didn't lift a finger. This whole saga highlights how quickly reputations can be shattered in the digital age and how a single viral moment can lead to catastrophic consequences, altering careers and lives forever. Alright fam, as we get ready to wrap up this absolutely wild story, don't forget to show us some love. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the messiest celebrity and corporate scandals, please hit that like button right now, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more exclusive breakdowns and outrageous stories you won't hear anywhere else. Make sure you turn on those notification bells so you're the first to know when we drop new content. Your support helps us keep digging into these wild tales. So, after all that drama, the kiss cam, the alleged affair, the lawsuit, the corporate chaos, what can we actually learn from the whole Andy Byron and Kristen Kitt scandal? This wasn't just a juicy celebrity news story. It was a powerful, real-world lesson in privacy, reputation, and accountability in the digital age. First off, let's talk about privacy, or the severe lack thereof. As legal experts pointed out, there is virtually no expectation of privacy in a public place anymore. With cameras everywhere today, doorbells, buses, buildings, if you're out in the open, it's open season. The lesson is clear. If you're not comfortable reading about on the front page of newspapers, don't do it in public. As one person put it, you better be discreet or not get involved in monkey business. This scandal serves as a stark reminder that even a brief, seemingly private moment can instantly become a global spectacle. Secondly, this whole saga is a masterclass in reputation management, or rather, how not to manage it. Andy Byron desperately wanted to protect his image, but by suing Chris Martin and doubling down on his denials, he only made himself more famous for all the wrong reasons. He torched it himself. The more he fought, the worse he looked, becoming the most fragile CEO in tech and a literal punchline at Coldplay concerts. His attempt to control the narrative backfired spectacularly, proving that sometimes silence or a sincere apology might be the lesser of two evils. Finally, there's the harsh reality of accountability, especially for those in leadership positions. Andy Byron, the CEO who preached workplace integrity and gave interviews about zero tolerance for inappropriate office relationships, was caught breaking his own rules. The hypocrisy was too blatant for the internet to ignore. This led to an internal probe at Astronomer, questioning of leadership by employees, and demands for answers from investors. It underscores the critical importance of leaders not just setting standards, but modeling them. When leaders violate their own principles, the fallout can be catastrophic. So, here we are. One kiss on a jumbotron turned into a career-ruining storm. A CEO risked losing everything. An HR head might write a tell-all book. And Chris Martin? Still unbothered, still selling out stadiums. Was Andy a victim of bad luck, or the architect of his own downfall? It seems pretty clear. He wanted a Coldplay concert memory, and he got a legal nightmare instead. Maybe he should buy tickets to Chris Martin's Fix You show. He clearly needs it.